The notification hit my phone like a punch to the gut. $15,000. Luxury catering, Lake Tahoe. Authorized 1 minute ago. I stared at the screen, my mind racing to catch up. I was in San Francisco. My wallet was in my purse, and I definitely hadn't ordered $15,000 worth of catering. Before I could even call the bank, a text message flashed across the top of my screen. It was my sister, Tiffany. I booked your house for my wealth and wellness retreat starting Wednesday. I used your card for the deposit since mine is frozen. Don't be petty, it's an investment. I read it twice. No question, no request, just a demand wrapped in an insult. I called my father, Robert, expecting outrage, expecting him to tell me he'd handle it. Instead, he sighed. I promised her clients the house is ours, Bella. If you cancel, you humiliate me. Just let her have this one win. And just like that, the betrayal wasn't just financial, it was total. Has a family member ever spent your money without asking and then told you to calm down? Tell me in the comments. I need to know. I'm not the only one dealing with this level of audacity. I didn't scream. I didn't try to reason with a man who had clearly picked his favorite child decades ago. I just pressed the red end call button. The silence that filled my office wasn't peaceful. It was the heavy, suffocating silence of a bridge finally burning down. I looked at my calendar. Cancel everything, I texted my assistant. Family emergency. Then I grabbed my keys. The drive to Lake Tahoe usually took 4 hours. I made it in 3. The whole time, the hum of the engine was the only thing keeping me grounded as the memories of every check I'd ever written played on a loop in my head. My name is Bella. I'm 29 years old. I didn't inherit my money, and I certainly didn't manifest it. I built a tech logistics company from a laptop in a dorm room while my friends were at parties. I traded my 20s for security. I traded sleep for stability, and for years, my family treated my bank account like a community chest. I thought about the $20,000 I gave Tiffany for her ethical clothing line 3 years ago. She spent it on a trip to Bali to find inspiration. When I asked for a business plan, Dad called me cold. He said I cared more about spreadsheets than my sister's soul. They laughed at me then, calling me stingy while spending my money. But they didn't know that every dollar they took was just buying them a front row seat to their own eviction. The house rose out of the darkness like a glass ship anchored in the snow. $3.5 million of steel, stone, and privacy. It was supposed to be my sanctuary. Now it was a battlefield. I didn't go to the master bedroom. I didn't unpack. I went straight to the hidden office behind the kitchen, my command center. I sat down, opened my laptop, and brought up the smart home dashboard. The interface glowed with a soft blue light. Master code, delete. Guest access, revoke. Perimeter alarms, silent mode. One by one, I severed their access. I watched the status bars turn from green to red. It was clinically satisfying. Then I saw the control for the heated driveway. Outside, the snow was coming down in thick, heavy sheets. The driveway would be an ice rink by morning. I clicked off. If they wanted to steal my house, they could walk on the ice to do it. I brewed a pot of black coffee and settled into the leather chair, my eyes fixed on the grid of security cameras. The house was dark. The doors were magnetic locked. The stage was set. I wasn't the little sister anymore. I was the fortress, and I was ready for war. At exactly 2 a.m., the convoy appeared on the monitors. 3 black SUVs, rented, judging by the barcode stickers still visible on the windshields. They crunched over the ice I'd prepared for them, tires spinning slightly before finding purchase. I leaned forward in my leather chair, the blue light of the screens reflecting in my eyes. It was time. Tiffany stepped out of the lead vehicle like she was stepping onto a red carpet. She was wearing a white cashmere coat that probably cost more than my first car, and she was doing that thing she always did, talking with her hands, expanding her space, demanding attention. She swept her arm toward my house, presenting it to the 10 women climbing out behind her as if she'd laid the foundation herself. "Welcome to the sanctuary," I heard her say through the high-gain audio feed. "Leave your trauma at the door." I watched her walk up the steps. She didn't look at the keypad. She just punched in the code with a flourish. My birthday. Of course she'd never bothered to learn a new number. The keypad didn't beep. It didn't click. It flashed a solid, angry red. Tiffany laughed, a high tinkling sound meant to reassure the wealthy women shivering in their designer boots. Technology, she chirped, always needs a second to wake up. She punched it again, harder. She tried a third time, jamming her finger against the button so hard the plastic casing creaked. The silence that fell over the driveway was absolute. And that was when I saw it, the shift. Most people, when locked out, look confused. They check their pockets, they check the address, but Tiffany didn't look confused. She looked terrifying. See, there is a specific kind of rage that lives inside a narcissist. When the world refuses to bend to their delusion, it's not just frustration, it's an injury. To Tiffany, that locked door wasn't a technical glitch. It was an insult. It was reality daring to contradict the story she had sold to these women, the story that she was powerful, wealthy, and in control. And when reality attacks a narcissist, they don't retreat, they explode. Her face contorted, the spiritual guru mask dissolved, replaced by something feral. She whirled on the camera, her eyes locking onto the lens as if she could see me through the fiber optics. "Open it," she hissed. It wasn't a request. She pulled out her phone. My screen lit up. Tiffany calling. I let it ring. I watched her on one screen and my phone on the other. She called again and again. Behind her, the clients were starting to whisper. One woman checked her watch, another pulled her coat tighter, looking back at the warm, idling SUVs. "It's just a system reboot," Tiffany shouted to them, her voice cracking. "My assistant is incompetent. She forgot the update." Then she turned back to the door and kicked it, a solid, violent kick against a designer boot. "Open the damn door, Bella," she screamed, forgetting the audience, forgetting the lie. "I know you're doing this. Open it." She didn't look like my sister anymore. She looked like a cornered animal. She grabbed the handle and rattled it, throwing her entire body weight against the frame, screaming profanity that echoed off the frozen lake. I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel guilt. I took a slow sip of my black coffee and watched the meltdown. She was unraveling, thread by thread in 4K resolution. Then she stopped. She took a breath. She pulled her phone out again, but she didn't call me. She dialed the one number she knew would always answer. Dad. She sobbed into the phone, the victim mask sliding back into place instantly. "She locked me out. She's ruining everything." I set my coffee down. The siege had begun. 10 minutes. That was exactly how long it took Robert's truck to skid into the driveway, fishtailing on the ice I'd created. He didn't park. He abandoned the vehicle sideways, blocking the exit, leaving the engine running and the headlights cutting through the gloom. I zoomed in with camera 3. My father didn't look like a concerned parent coming to mediate a dispute. He looked like a man who had lost control of his assets. He jumped out of the cab, slipping slightly on the frozen asphalt, but he didn't reach for a key. He reached into the truck bed and pulled out a 3-foot steel crowbar. My heart didn't race. It slowed. It was the calm of a sniper taking a breath before the shot. "Dad!" Tiffany screamed, running toward him, her heels skidding. She changed the codes. She locked me out. Robert didn't hug her. He didn't ask if she was okay. He marched past her, his eyes fixed on the front door like it was a personal enemy. He walked right up to the custom-tempered glass that cost more than my first apartment, and he didn't knock. He swung. Crack! The sound was sickening, a spiderweb of white fractures exploding across the surface. The safety glass held, but it was ruined. "Open this door, Bella," he roared, his voice distorted by the microphone, but clear enough to shake the snow off the eaves. "I paid for this house. You don't lock me out of my own property." A lie, a loud, violent lie told in front of 10 witnesses. The wealthy clients were backing away now, clutching their designer bags, eyes wide. This wasn't a wellness retreat. It was a crime scene. I didn't call the police. Not yet. That was too simple. That was just consequences. I wanted destruction. I opened a new tab on my laptop. Years ago, when Tiffany was launching her brand, I had set up her business Facebook page, Divine Wealth Coaching. I was still the admin. I hadn't posted in 3 years, but I still had the keys to the castle. I clicked the button labeled Connect External Source. I selected Security Feed, Front Door Cam 4K. Then I clicked the big blue button, Go Live, broadcasting to 15,000 followers. The screen confirmed. I unmuted the house-wide public address system. My voice didn't shake. It filled the air outside, booming from the hidden speakers like the voice of God. Attention, guests. Everyone froze. Robert stopped mid-swing, the crowbar raised above his head. Tiffany spun around, looking for the source. Please check your phones, I said, my voice crisp and cold. You are currently live on Facebook. This is not a retreat. This is a burglary in progress. The reaction was instantaneous. 10 phones lit up. 10 women gasped as they saw themselves on their own screens standing in the snow while a man attacked a door with a weapon. You're live, one woman shrieked, covering her face. My husband is a lawyer, another yelled, turning on Tiffany. You said you owned this estate. Tiffany looked at her phone. She saw the viewer count ticking up, hundreds of people watching her father commit a felony in real time. Her brand, her image, her entire constructed reality was dissolving into pixels. Turn it off, she screamed at the sky, at the camera, at me. She threw her hands up, trying to block the lens, looking deranged. Tella, turn it off. You're ruining me. Robert didn't care about the camera. He cared about control. He swung the crowbar again, shattering the panel as glass exploded across the porch. I'm coming in there, he roared on my monitor. I took a screenshot of his violent face. Perfect. Then I dialed 911. When the police arrived, Robert dropped the crowbar and transformed instantly from raging aggressor into a trembling, concerned father. Tiffany followed suit, crying softly, playing the victim. They claimed a misunderstanding. Robert handed the officer a lease, January 1st, my signature forged. The officer sighed. To him, it looked like a civil dispute. He ordered me to open the door. They thought they had won. I stepped outside holding a manila folder, not keys, not surrender. Inside was an employment contract. Tiffany was a live-in employee under Nevada law. That made her housing a service tenancy. No job meant no right to stay. I fired her on the spot. The officer understood immediately. The lease collapsed. The loophole vanished. Robert snapped. He lunged first at me, then at the officer. That ended it. In seconds, he was face down in the snow, arrested for assault and burglary. Tiffany ran, then fought and was cuffed as well, her live stream still broadcasting to thousands as her brand imploded in real time. When the cruisers disappeared down the mountain road, silence returned inside. I locked the door. My phone buzzed. Tiffany's card canceled. I blocked their numbers, stepped onto the balcony and watched fresh snow erase their tracks. You can't choose your family, but you can choose who gets a key, and for the first time, it was mine alone.